Well, my mama worked the graveyard. Yeah, my daddy was gone.
Hell yeah.
So I spent my
And just like that,
nights
we are
with
back.
rich
Thank you, sir, for having me over.
There.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Liam St. John welcoming me to the Airbnb. They are in the middle of their huge tour. I'm like kind of nervous because like these dudes have made it. In my books, they are big time, grinding their whole lives to get where they are today, and it's cool to kind of dip my toes in, be a little bit part of it, and hang out with you and kind of pick your brain about everything. But I'm super stoked for you and watched you perform last night. It was really, really cool. Thanks again for having me. I'm excited to have you on and talk to you today.
Hell yeah, thanks for having me, man. Mr. Bear.
Yeah, it's been, I think the last time I saw you besides yesterday was, we were talking about it earlier, probably 7 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Back when I was fighting and going to church and stuff. And
Yeah, you were like about to go pro
yeah.
in MMA.
Yeah, it really does feel like a different lifetime ago, and having different goals and
Yeah.
just life comes at you so different.
Sure did.
But here we are down the road. Were you still at that time pursuing music, and was it always a goal even back then to be where you are today?
Yeah, it's always been like a dream of mine, but I don't know, I lived another life before this too, and that's one of the big things that is why I'm here. Like I lived a whole lot of my life just like kind of living to please other people, and I suppressed a lot of my own feelings and thoughts, just went through the motions of life doing what I thought other people wanted me to do. So like my music was always, I grew up singing, grew up playing guitar, and always wanted it, but it was like a dream then. It was like this, someday I probably could do that. I wish I could do that, but it just it took like a lot of courage and a lot of pain to kind of dive into the career and actually see myself being able to pursue it. And then once I saw that, then came all the trench work,
So I kind of, I like to talk about people who have ended up seeing success for something that they're doing in any field, like basketball, business, stock market, music. Once you decided to like put your head down and realized that you did want to do this, how long did it take of like grind mode of like losing money, sleepless nights, thinking that you weren't ever going to make it? How long from like when you really started to turn it on till you got to like see some progress and see some potential out of it?
Yeah, man, once I like fully committed to this career and like I had decided in my heart that it was what I wanted to do. Let me just turn this. Yeah, so what was I saying?
Like how long till you decided you wanted it till you were like, okay, I'm going somewhere?
Yeah. So I had like, gone to college and like done I got like my master's, had all these like the safe route stuff, and nothing was working. And then I had finally just decided to get the guts to say that this is the career I wanted, and I dove into it head first. And what had happened was that I was in the trenches of the music industry, like singing to empty dive bars, open mics, playing for nothing. But what I had was like, I felt meaning and purpose in it. Like I was singing to these empty dive bars, and I felt like this was I felt it was like life-giving and like purposeful. And it was the first time I'd ever felt that. And so once I felt that, I knew that this is what I was going to do. There was nothing, like, not even the bottom of this industry was, you know, too bad for me. You know what I mean? And so once I felt that, it was really like, just like nose to the grindstone. I knew nothing was really going to get in my way from me pursuing that. But that all kind of started in 2017, like really truly pursuing the career. Like I you know, toyed around with it, dreamt about it for a while, and said that I wanted it for a long time. But when I really started to believe it and pursue it was probably 2017. And then honestly, I quit my job 2022, last June, a year ago.
Wow.
So it's been a fucking journey.
Yeah. Making it though, man. And is it safe to say that you're getting to the point where you wanted to be 5 years ago, of like maybe like cruising altitude almost? Is that kind of how you're feeling, or you still think there's a long ways up and a lot grind left until you're like not really content? Because I feel like with people that have a drive like this, they're never really going to be complacent. Even selling out an arena, it's like, well, I could have done 2 nights. So like, without that being said, do you think you're close to cruising altitude of where you imagined yourself 5 years ago? Or
I mean, definitely in retrospect, this is all I could ever have asked for, you know. Touring around the country, sold out clubs, people screaming my lyrics. It's like literally all an artist wants in their career, to have fans and to get to tour it. And so in that way, it's it feels like I'm currently living my dream. But you know, as an independent artist and as somebody who has like massive goals, you're always just I'm just always, it's always a grind. It's like I don't feel like I could ever be on cruise control in this career, because, you know, it's really up to me if I want to advance it. And so just continuing to you know, show up for myself and my career in all the ways that I can, you know, songwriting and putting in the work, putting the tours together, you know, and just advancing in as many ways as possible. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty much living my dream.
hell yeah, that's good to hear. Proud of you, dude.
Thanks, man.
Takes a lot of guts and a lot of long nights, and
Yeah.
you got to be crazy to even have a dream, and then to want to actually pursue it. You got to be a little bit crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before I forget, you were saying that even on like the worst days, you had this drive and this thing inside of you that even on the worst nights, you still weren't going to quit. Is there anything that stands out of like the worst night or one of the worst nights or lowest points of getting to where you are today?
Man, I mean, it's like career wise, like, you know, you envision yourself doing what I'm doing, like touring and having fans, but you're in this empty dive bar and nobody's there, and from the outside perspective, that's probably a pretty hard thing to do, is like believe that one day something else could be possible. But a lot of the hard times just came from like choosing to pursue my truth, and then experiencing the consequences of things out on other parts of my life, like kind of falling apart, you know, and you know, cutting ties with a lot of things and experiencing darkness in order to pursue, you know, my passion. So
We'll switch up the topics a little bit. I'm sure there's a bunch of things I still will get back to, but I did want to mention, so like I said, we watched you guys play last night at the Lucky You Lounge. On your way to Canada tomorrow, is that right?
yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I did want to know, how did you get connected with this group of guys that you're playing with? Because you guys are grooving together. You sound amazing together. You can play well together. The sound is there. It looks like you guys are having a hell of a time. So how did you meet? How did you meet these guys, and
Yeah.
how did you get here?
Well, Ian, my drummer, I met when I moved to Portland in 2017, 2018. And we just met on I was looking for a drummer, and somebody posted a Facebook post for me, and Ian responded to it, and he's been my drummer ever since. So we've been grinding together, played a lot of gigs for nothing together, and now he's banging the cajon for me on this strip back tour. Sorry, I'm recovering from a cough. But yeah, and then I met Joshua on TikTok.
Nice.
TikTok brought us together. I'm a huge fan of him. His songwriting, his voice is badass, and he can shred. Like
I was
no
really
other.
shocked to learn he was only 22.
Yeah.
There's a lot of years in that voice, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, he's got an old soul for sure.
Well, that's cool. And because I was thinking about it on the way up here, not only do you guys have to perform together, you have to travel the country together, but then you got to basically live together, travel,
Yeah.
like drive together. So
Yeah.
you got to be pretty locked in.
Yeah, we all luckily just are on the same wavelength, and same frequency, and we're all just like, I'm a huge fan of all these guys, and respect them a lot, and so I feel like family now. It's like traveling with your bros.
Hmm. What goes into building a tour?
Man, a whole lot of effort. Shout out to my management team, Aiden and Joel. We don't have a booking agent. We're completely independent. And so it's a lot of like, from planning the route, the dream route, to then finding venues in that route, to then getting a hold of them, to then them having the dates open, and then agreeing on the deals and stuff. But once that happens, it's just a lot of like, getting tour posters and like figuring out the van, and there's just so many logistical things that are annoying to do, but it all has to be done. But I'm really proud of my team for helping me put this together, because I can more just focus on experiencing the tour and having and performing every night.
So at a stage like this, and like you're about halfway through the tour now, it looks like.
Yeah.
Is it kind of where, and being independent a lot more, like there's nobody to call of like, hey, deal with this. You're dealing with it. So at this point in the tour, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, do you only get to focus on your music and your shows now, or are there still a bunch of like phone calls you have to make, or texts you have to get of like, hey, we need to get this planned out and lined out still, or is all that done before you guys even leave on your first trip? So now it's just like set up, play, recover, rinse and repeat.
I mean, as much as we can, we want it to be all set up beforehand, but I got a small team, so it's just my manager Aiden and then tour manager Joel, and we're kind of handling it all together. And then some things come up, like we're going to Canada tomorrow, and you have to like pay tax on your merch if you're gonna sell merch.
What?
So we're trying to figure that out. But yeah, things happen on the fly a lot that you can't really plan for. Like we got sick on tour, so we had to figure out all of that. But yeah, it's definitely there's definitely a lot of room for growth, and if we had a bigger team, it would be a lot more efficient. But all we can do is we just got to take it into our hands until the other resources want to join us. But I was sick of the industry. You just can't wait for the industry now. Like people have this fantasy that a record label will pick them up and swoop them under their feet and change their lives, but that's not how it works. You got to work for it. And the people that make it are the ones that want it the most and work the hardest, the longest.
That's huge. That's a key piece, especially younger people right now see people go turn into an overnight success, but they don't see the 10 years that go into it, and
Yeah.
they don't see the videos of playing in front of nobody. They just see, I just got signed to God.
Yeah.
But so that's huge to throw that out there and be like, nope, you still got to work, still
Yeah.
got to grind. So that's huge, and respect for you guys for going to get it. Do you have any pre-show rituals, or like, my dad was in a band when I was growing up, and he would always have like the same spearmint orbit gum before he could play. He would always need this drink in between sets, and
Yeah.
so like, what's your pre-show rituals?
Well, I mean, we have our rider. I always get like throat coat. I'll put a throat coat with hot water and then some Jack Daniels to calm my nerves. But yeah, I mean, I try to stay calm, keep myself centered before my set, and then I just try to get present into the present moment, because these moments are what I live for. That performing live music is it's just my breath, man. It's like it's where I feel my fullest and truest self, and so a lot of things can distract you from experiencing it, and so I try to just center myself and remember why I'm there, and like that I get to sing to real people who resonate with the songs I've written, and I just really try to remind myself of that, and then I just get amped up with my drummer right before we go on, and then rip it up.
Do you still get nervous before your shows?
Yeah, I sure do. It's like it literally feels like the best day of my life every night, and so it's like really special for me to go out there on stage, and literally it's like you're just jumping city to city with these like strangers that you've never met before, but you know so well because of the songs they connected with.
Yeah, and they certainly, and I listen to a lot of podcasts and listen to a lot of music, and if you find a favorite artist or find a favorite podcaster, you listen to them, and you not only do you listen to it, but like you listen on different levels, and you learn about them, and you hear stories from their lives, and you hear who they are and what they're going through from album to album. So do you feel like these, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you feel that connection of like, you know them because they know you so well, and you know your own music so well, so you basically know what they know of you because of what you gave? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But like, you can feel that,
Yeah, man. What's up, bro? Yeah, man. It's like a special feeling, especially, all these songs are so intimate and vulnerable, that I've written from like experiences in my life. And so to know that, millions of people are streaming them and listening to them and resonating them with them so deeply is like such an interesting feeling, because they're so intimate to me. But knowing that we're all coming together to share an experience because of these songs, it kind of feels like you've known them your whole life. And so that's why I have so much fun on stage, just because it's not just me just shouting out to a crowd. It's like a whole, give and take. So
Can you feel different vibes from city to city? Like, I've never been city to city performing in front of people, but I've got to imagine from East Coast to West Coast to little cities, even the same state. Do you get different vibes and feelings and different atmosphere from place to place?
Yeah, There truly is a different. It's really hard not to put an expectation on what it's going to be like based on the night before, because like Denver was absolutely insane crowd, like all leaning in, screaming every word, and then Big Fork, everybody was sitting down, just like listening, and it's very interesting to experience the different energies. And Spokane was so interesting for me because I haven't played a show here really ever, to an audience that knows me, and so people from my past life were there. People I've never met who are fans of mine were there, and so it was just a mixed crowd. My family was there. So, sorry.
You good, man?
That was a very interesting show for me to be like spitting up all this vulnerability, knowing that like a lot of the lyrics will probably offend some people.
Some people.
So, yeah. But yeah, Spokane, that show was really special to me, nearly sold out the Lucky You Lounge, and I've always respected the owners of that organization. They used to run the Bartlett, so it feels good to come back to my hometown and play such a cool venue.
Yeah, congratulations again, man. That's huge, and it's got to be special, and it'll be kind of refreshing to get out of Spokane, but I'm sure it was really nice to kind of give homage to everybody who's brought you to where you are today, and they could see the fruits of your labor, and I bet it's going to be very freeing to kind of get back out of there and mostly into just your fans, where you can just be yourself and not worry about like, because I'm sure even if like my parents are in the crowd watching me fight when I used to fight, it's like they're not going to be watching the same fight that a casual MMA fan's going to watch. They're going to be like, oh, I hope my sweet boy doesn't get hurt. And so I'm sure it's kind of similar to you from your close friends and family, and your old friends are like, I wonder if this song's about me, or It's like, wait, is that real? Did he really do that? That's crazy. So reset, get out of here. New energy, new crowd. I think that's really interesting, the difference in people from city to city. I wonder where that comes from. Where did you say they were all just like sitting down and listening? Where was that?
Big Fork, Montana.
And not out of like disrespect, but just like absorbing it differently, right?
Yeah, there were like a lot of it depends on the venue. There were tables, and people bought tickets by the table, and so, but like I've played shows all over, and sometimes there'll be seats, and I'll be kind of frustrated because it's not that doesn't offer the greatest opportunity for my fans to experience the full experience of my show.
Yeah.
So I usually tell them to stand up and come up to the stage. I even did last night. 'Cause everybody they're nervous to stand close, but like I played in Dallas last year, and people sat for the first 3 songs and I could tell they wanted to sing and scream with me, but they were in their seats.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like be a fan and sit down and watch this rock band go. So I pulled them up, and it was a completely different show the rest of the night. Everybody was like crying, screaming, just leaning into it. So
what's been your favorite place that you've performed? It could be the venue was sweet, the people were awesome, the city itself was awesome. What's the best place that stands out to you that you've performed?
Man, they're starting to stack up right now, but we played Salt Lake City and Denver back to back, and those 2 shows were really special. Everybody just wanted to be there and was stoked to experience the moment with me, and it felt like we were sharing it together. Like the audience was there performing for me just as much as I was for them. It felt like they brought a lot to the table, and so I love it when the crowd is with me. They're not always like that, and it's just how it goes sometimes. And sometimes I'm in my head. We got some tea going. We got fucked up throats. We need hot tea.
This video is sponsored by Throat Coat.
Yeah.
Denver and Utah. What's your pinnacle of like 10, it could be 10, 20, 30 years from now. What's the best night of your life for performing?
Man. Well, I do my affirmations every single day to remind myself where I'm headed. And I cannot wait to play stadiums someday. But I don't know. It almost seems like it's not as intimate. So I just look forward. I love like seeing pictures after my shows of these like low ceilinged clubs with packed rooms. It's like almost nostalgic just seeing pictures of myself
Already
in these small clubs, because it's so intimate, and I'll always just cherish those times of the intimate settings, and I hope it continues to be like that the bigger the venues get. But yeah, man, I would love to play like a huge gorge amphitheater and just have people packed out in the grass, just really leaning in and experiencing the night with me, and just I don't know, it's kind of my whole thing is just like tearing down my walls, tearing down the judgment I have against myself, tearing down any judgments I think you have towards me, and just like literally letting everything go and just like being present. And I think that when I feel that, the audience feels it, and we feel it together, it's a pretty magical thing. And I think that's what everybody deserves to feel in their lives, is true presence, and the opportunity to just let your freak fly, like be your full true self without holding any judgments towards yourself, and not worrying about what other people are thinking about you. That's how I feel up on stage, and I love it when the audience feels it too.
How did you get there? Like, at what point in life did you decide to try to make that change, and how did you implement that into your life? Because a lot of people, myself included, up until very recently, even knew that could be a real option. I was looking for antidepressants to help try to fix that. I was looking for the right girl to try to make me feel that way. I was looking for the right, knocking enough people out to make me feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really all just letting yourself be okay. So how did you get there, and how do you do that every day?
Well, it's not easy, and I went through like a divorce, and I fell out of my faith. Like, I lost a lot of friends and like people in my life to get there, but that kind of is just a testament to the sacrifice it takes to fully breathe and live your truth. I don't know, but like I remember I played a show once in 2017. It was the first time I ever played with a band, and I felt invincible. Like I was floating. Like I couldn't sing a bad note. I felt like I was controlling the whole room. And it was the first time I had felt present in my entire life. And it was the first time I felt like my full self. And that moment really like started knocking at my, the walls I had been holding up my whole life. Growing up in the, religious setting, like, I just kind of was living to please other people my whole life. And so, but that moment I played in like a coffee shop with a band. And it really started to knock down some walls, and it opened up a lot of like pain, and started my journey of like deconstructing my faith and like questioning a lot of things, and it took me down to a really, really, really dark place. Ultimately like led to like a divorce and stuff like that, like pretty dark stuff. And then after that divorce, like facing all the judgment from myself and from other people for like leaving my faith. But all of it was worth it, because that moment of being present and fully living my truth kept me alive, and kept me pursuing that, and it allowed me to journey through all those dark times to get to a place where I could just choose to fully breathe and speak truth for the first time. And it's amazing how much just life that gives you and weight it takes off your shoulders.
I found that very interesting. I, similar to you, grew up going to church and in the church and pleasing it. The last thing I did was doing something for myself. Even fighting, my whole career of fighting, I feel like I never did that for myself. So it's really interesting to hear you talk like this and have this like born again moment. And then it's very ironic, because usually it's the opposite way, where people are doing very selfish in their lives and doing things that bring them joy but might be bad, and then find faith and feel born again and refreshed and everything's lifted off their shoulders. But I kind of feel in the same place of just like letting that go and just being free of like I don't know, I've never really thought about it, especially out loud. And then especially with somebody who's been there and has a similar life trajectory that I'm chasing now too, of like, I want to do this for myself. I want to do something that I love, something that I can wake up every day and go do and feel good doing it, and I can make money off of it. Are you kidding me? This is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So just to start over and feel free and fresh, and it's very refreshing that other people are feeling that too. So that's cool. Thank you for opening up and sharing.
Absolutely.
That's tight. And
yeah, it is pretty ironic. I'm sure people, like you said, this story goes the opposite way for a lot of people, but I think in the end we're kind of all in this together, and I've got no I guess it would be hypocritical for me to be judgmental or hateful towards those types of people. But that really screwed me up growing up in that with those mindsets and in the church. And so I'm sure it's different for everyone, but
cool. I'm gonna reset this camera. I'll take a quick break.
Okay, right on, man.
Jump right back. Cool. And we're back, everybody. We have a special guest. This is the drummer. His name is Ian. Thanks for stopping by and joining the podcast.
Hey, thanks, man.
I wanted to tell you too, I think I told you last night, but it was awesome hearing you guys and seeing you guys vibe together so well. And I was telling him that I've been doing a lot of like rap and hip hop concerts, working them the past few months. And biggest difference between you guys is you can just feel everything. You can feel the emotion in the song, in the way you're performing, in the pauses when you're not performing. You can just feel it, and that's huge. So congratulations for fucking doing it, you guys.
Hell yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah.
What's the worst part about being on tour with them right now?
The worst part was taking a break for 2 weeks, a week and a half. Went home and worked. There's a bit of a gap, and I had another gig to do, but I didn't realize how much I missed it until I got back.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Jumping back on the road was like literally like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, man, we missed you.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Did you guys ever grow up and really think that if you loved what you do, you didn't work a day in your life? I always heard that, but I always thought it was complete bullshit. Did you guys kind of ever really think you could find something you love and do it, or did that just sound like a false hope forever?
I think it always felt like a dreamer's dream, like that some people do it, but not me. Like I always wanted to be like an Olympian, you know, pursued that athletic career for a long time, but I never really believed it that I could do it. But what I found with pursuing my career is like it's just you actually just have to fucking do it, you know, and like
You got to be Mr. Olympian. You get a chance to, you know, like I think you're a fighter.
In my past life.
yeah.
Yeah, but you know, practicing is the pursuit is the real like objective.
Yeah. But back like when what I was saying when I like found my truth, I was at the lowest of the lows. Like one of our first gigs was in Seattle at the Sunset Tavern, and we played to the sound guy.
Nice.
And I had so much fucking fun. And I remember pumping Ian up in the green room. I was like, this is it, man. We're fucking doing it. We're in Seattle. We're playing a gig. This is like, you know.
It's the same. It feels the same as that gig.
And now
what we
we're
did
playing
last
it,
night.
Even
you
last
know,
night.
250 people, which, you know,
Wow.
it's pretty fucking cool. But that's the difference is like in my music, I believed it from the bottom till now. And that's, I think, the what ultimately separates those that do get to live a dream job that they never work a day in their life, and those who are bitter that they can't.
Yeah. So you said you guys met on the Facebook ad or something, is that right? Or
Yeah. So
when was this? How long have you guys been playing together?
it was like late 2017, but I had asked another drummer in Portland to be in my band, and he said he didn't have time. And then he was like, let me help you out. And he tagged all the best, like the elite drummers in Portland, and included Ian on it.
It was surreal, like seeing that notification that day, because it was all the cats that I worshipped in Portland
really?
that were drummers.
Yeah.
And you were on the list?
I think I was the first to respond.
Wow.
I saw it and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna hit him up.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I was like, yeah, I'll audition you, but can we use your rehearsal space? And also, I don't have a microphone. Do you?
Yo, it's still like that to this day. Not with you necessarily. You bring the pain now.
So, did you even know the guy who had tagged you and put you in that post?
Yeah, just through the music community in Portland.
Dang, but you felt because he put you on the list of like, whoa, I know that guy. Well, he's really good. Did you feel at all like I'm not good enough to be working with him compared to these guys, or like if I was him, I'd probably pick this guy?
100% that, and that's why I jumped on it as fast as I could. But it goes back to what you were saying about like, is this what we're doing now? Was it like a far-fetched dream or something? And like responding to that was one step towards, you know, achieving the dream.
Yeah.
Dang, that's so cool. I can very recently, like a month ago, a similar thing happened where a couple I went to high school with was like, hey, we need a photographer. We paid our deposit, but somebody bailed. And they're like, we need an engagement shoot basically ASAP. And I luckily saw it like a minute after I got posted. I was like, hell yeah, let me jump on there. And then so I checked back after I did the engagement shoot for them. So like she hit me back up and I showed her some of my work and it worked out. And then I looked back and there were like 36 comments on it of like people recommending like real photographers. And I was like, holy cow. I was surprised that they picked me. I was surprised that I did it. I was surprised that and I ended up knocking out the park too. And I was like,
Let's
okay,
go.
let's go. Like, so I really feel you on
Yeah.
that post. Like Facebook is,
Yeah, man.
Facebook is really the MVP.
Took the initiative. I don't know about Facebook being the MVP.
How is it being a musician right now in the realm of the new social media and the internet versus like I was telling him earlier, my dad was in a band when I was growing up, but back then it was like MySpace, but I don't even think they understood the power of advertising on the internet versus now, like you met, what's Josh? You met Josh through TikTok,
Yeah.
which is crazy because you couldn't have done that 10 years ago. So what's the role of the internet now as you guys see it as musicians?
Well, it has just completely 180'd the music industry because it has put all the access in the hands of the artist. We have direct access to our audience now, and we have the option to get in front of them if we choose to work hard and make content and, write good songs. But yeah, it's completely changed the industry. And that's the only reason I'm able to do this is pursuing TikTok and growing my fan base on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. And, yeah, it's really empowering, because, the record labels don't really know shit. And that's what we're finding out more and more is like they're just looking for like small businesses to acquire in the form of people like me. And
Do you think that's still just because they're stuck in the old ways? Maybe they're all old heads that have been doing it for 20 years and that's all they knew was to take advantage of people. And there was no other way to make it big. You couldn't go viral on TikTok. You needed a record label. Do you think that it's just because they're so used to that it's still like that? Or even the new generations of like just so much ego and stuff is involved that it's corrupt the whole system?
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of the old industry mindset in the big industry, but yeah, they're starting to see the writing on the wall and like seeking out viral TikTok artists and signing them and taking their masters and trying to take advantage of it. But it's the business. Like I would definitely sign with the label if they brought to me some resources that I don't have. Like you said, I have a really small team, and if we want to be playing Red Rocks, we need a bigger team eventually. But until then, I'm just gonna keep doing the indie thing and building my team organically.
Mm-hmm. Ian, what's the dream performance stage for you? Like it could be next week, it could be 10, 20 years from now. What's just it, and it doesn't have to be like the most people, but just like what's the best, like you're looking at new memories that you haven't had yet. What's the best thing that stands out?
I mean, playing the Moroccan Lounge on the 9th is going to be like a big one on my list. It was like on my short list when I moved.
Where is that?
It's in Los Angeles.
It's our last show on the tour.
Yeah. I moved to LA in April, like a year ago now, and I went and saw a show there and was like, oh, this venue is amazing, and like the people who I hope to be my peers one day, if they're not now, are playing there, and he ended up booking the venue. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be sick, but yeah, playing like Lollapalooza and Coachella, as controversial as their organization might be, like those kind of stages would be sick.
Nice.
Hell
And
yeah.
Coachella would be really tight. What other type of music do you do, Ian? Do you just mainly do drums?
Yeah, I'm a drummer.
Just drums?
Yeah, I'm working the most as a drummer. I love making music, and I studied music in college, and I play some other instruments. But yeah, I play with some friends from Portland still, and just try to play the drums as much as possible. Anytime is, I'm grateful for.
And you're living in LA now, is that right?
Uh-huh.
And did you go down there just to be immersed in the music and
Yeah.
just be around everybody else involved and diving into the deep end?
Yeah, you gotta surround yourself with the people you want to collaborate with, and aspire to be like. So, yeah, that's the main reason. I spent a lot of time in Nashville too for that same reason, but yeah, that's where the grinding gets done.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Hopefully a big move like that is coming up for me sometime next few years or so. But you guys are really setting the precedent and laying out a good blueprint of getting after it. And
Hell
it's
yeah, man.
inspiring to me too. So I'm sure there's somebody else out there that's going to get something from it. And like I said, just watching you guys perform yesterday, you don't need to, like my lady, for example, she doesn't listen to your guys' type of music on Spotify, but she looked over to me and she was like, this is just good music. Like,
Hell yeah.
this is awesome. And I was like, thank you. Because she was kind of skeptical of like, wait, I don't listen. I was like, it's blues and soul, and you just gotta experience it and feel it. But she looked over at me and she was like, I see what you're saying now. I was
That's
like,
awesome,
okay, cool. So it's not by accident. A lot of hard work.
Oh, thank you, man.
And like I said, you're about halfway through your tour. Why don't you go ahead and plug your dates and tell them where you're going next, where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're headed to Vancouver, Canada tomorrow, and then down to Seattle for a back-to-backer. Then we have a day off. Then we're going to Bend, Oregon, Portland for a little old stomping grounds. Then headed south to San Francisco, and then ending it in Los Angeles. And that'll be the wrap of this leg of the tour. And then we're going to pick it back up in the summer.
But yeah. And then if there's anything else you want to tell to your fans out there, or anything else you want to air out, get off your chest, now is the time.
Well, I love you, Bear.
Thanks, man.
I remember going to your fights was such a fun thing for me. I always felt so proud of you.
Well,
Watching you like jump up on the fucking cage after you knock somebody out was pretty fucking cool.
that feeling, I just watched, it was like a Facebook memory of, that knockout, jumping up on the crowd, and then seeing it from the camera's point of view instead of my memory from my point of view.
Oh, yeah.
But it was the camera back on the opposite side of the cage, me, and then everybody else out there looking up, cheering. I was like, it was just very bizarre to almost 10 years later look back from a different point of view and be like, wow, that was crazy. That
you.
feeling is, I'm sure what you guys feel every time when you go out on stage now, of like, this is it. Of just like,
Yeah,
man. So I'm
so pumped.
I'm happy for you guys, because that feeling is the best.
Yeah.
And I'm chasing that right now, and it's nice because getting to talk to you guys right now is my fucking knockout, basically. That's how it feels inside.
Fuck
of
yeah.
like, I'm fucking doing it. I'm here with famous musicians on a nationwide tour. This is fucking lit.
Let's go.
And then similarly, like, I had a bunch of pictures. I just forgot to upload them before I came over here. But like, getting a perfect picture of a show, it's like, oh fuck, let's go. So no matter what it is, photography, fighting, music, having something that you love that you can feel that way is magical.
Yeah, truly.
Well, thank you for your time and letting me bother you guys while you're resting for your next show. And Ian, appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man. I
Thanks
love
for
you
coming,
guys.
man. Love
And
you too, dog.
Respect, man.
thank you. And that's it. Deuces.
Well, my mama worked the graveyard, and my daddy was gone. So I spent my nights with Ray Charles. I cried to Louis Armstrong. Well, my mama, she was always there, digging us out of the hole. Well, my father, he never cared. Now we don't even pick up the phone. So I call